Cole Hartley stood in his kitchen at 3:47 in the morning, holding a marriage certificate that wasn't his. The document bore his wife's signature next to another man's name, dated 6 weeks ago in Las Vegas. Below it sat hotel receipts, text messages printed from her phone, and a photograph of Vivian kissing Lance Mercer at what appeared to be a wedding chapel altar. 23 years of marriage, reduced to evidence spread across granite countertops. The house felt different now. Every corner held lies he'd been too trusting to see. The family photos on the mantel mocked him. The wedding ring on his finger burned like a brand of stupidity. Cole methodically photographed each document with his phone, then placed everything back exactly as he'd found it in Vivian's laptop bag. She'd been careless, probably drunk when she shoved the papers inside after her business trip to Nevada. He made coffee and sat in his recliner, watching sunrise paint the suburban street gold. At 7:15, Vivian's alarm would sound. She'd shower, dress, pretend to be the woman he'd married. Their daughter Maddie would stumble downstairs, grab a protein bar, and ignore him like always. Normal Tuesday morning in the Hartley household, except nothing would ever be normal again. "Morning, honey?" Vivian appeared at 7:30, hair still damp, applying mascara with practiced efficiency. She wore the blue dress he'd bought her for Christmas. "You're up early." "Couldn't sleep." Cole sipped his coffee, studying her face. How long had she been acting? Months? Years? How was Vegas? Boring conference stuff. You know how these corporate retreats go. She kissed his cheek, her lips cold against his skin. Same presentations every year. Must have been exhausting. "Absolutely, I'm just glad to be home." Maddie thundered downstairs, 17 and perpetually annoyed by existence. "Dad, I need money for the spring formal dress." "Mom said you'd cover it." "How much?" 300. Maybe 4 if I find the right shoes. Cole nodded. "We'll figure it out." Vivian grabbed her purse and keys. "Lance is picking me up today. My car's making that noise again." "Which noise?" "The clicking thing. You said you'd look at it weeks ago." Her tone carried familiar irritation, the kind that made him feel incompetent. "Lance knows cars. He'll take a look." Of course, Lance knew cars. Lance probably knew everything about Vivian these days. "I can fix it tonight. Don't bother. Lance already offered." She headed for the door. "See you around 6. The front door closed with finality that felt permanent. Cole waited 30 minutes, then called his boss. Something came up, taking personal time. Next, he called his friend Eric at the auto shop. "Need a favor. Can you send a truck to my house? Moving some furniture?" "Sure thing. What's going on?" "Spring cleaning." It took 4 hours to pack Vivian and Maddie's belongings. Cole worked methodically, like a man dismantling a bomb. Every piece of clothing, every personal item, every trace of them went into boxes and bags. He left their bedroom furniture, but removed all their possessions. The truck driver didn't ask questions when Cole provided Vivian's mother's address. "Tell Mrs. Patterson her daughter's things are coming home." By 3 o'clock, the house felt hollow. Cole walked through empty spaces where their lives used to intersect. Vivian's closet gaped open, showing only his clothes on wire hangers. Maddie's room looked like a crime scene, stripped of everything except furniture. He ordered Chinese food and waited. Vivian's car pulled into the driveway at 6:20. Cole watched through the living room window as she and Lance emerged, laughing about something. Lance looked exactly like his Facebook photos, tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of man who wore expensive cologne and talked loudly in restaurants. They walked toward the front door together, Vivian's hand resting on Lance's arm with casual intimacy. Cole opened the door before they knocked. "Cole, this is Lance. Lance, my husband." Vivian's introduction felt rehearsed. "He was kind enough to drive me home." Lance extended his hand with practiced charm. "Nice to finally meet you, buddy. Heard a lot about you." Cole shook the hand that had signed a marriage certificate with his wife. Lance's grip was firm, trying to assert dominance. Cole squeezed back just hard enough to let Lance know he wasn't impressed. "Thanks for bringing her home safely." "No problem at all. Vivian's special. You're a lucky guy." The words hung in the air like smoke from a house fire. "Come in for coffee?" Vivian offered, but Lance was already backing toward his BMW. "Rain check. Gotta hit the gym." "Take care, buddy." The BMW rumbled away, leaving cologne and tension in its wake. Vivian closed the door and turned to Cole. "He seems nice, right? Really helpful at work." "I'm sure he is." "You don't sound convinced." Cole watched her face carefully. "Should I be?" "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Long day. He headed toward the kitchen. Maddie's not home yet. She's studying at Ashley's house. Won't be back until 9. Vivian followed him, her heels clicking on hardwood. Cole, we need to talk about something. Here it comes, he thought. The confession, the tears, the dramatic revelation that would allow him to react appropriately, to play the wounded husband discovering betrayal. What about? Vivian leaned against the counter, choosing her words carefully. I've been thinking about us, about our marriage. Go on. We've grown apart. You know that, right? We're like roommates who share a mortgage. Cole poured himself water, his back to her. Is that how you see it? Don't you? When's the last time we really talked? About dreams, about the future? You come home, watch television, go to bed. I barely know who you are anymore. Who am I supposed to be? I don't know, but this isn't working. Her voice gained confidence. I think we should consider separation. Maybe sometime apart would help us figure things out. Cole turned around slowly. Separation. Just temporary, to get perspective. Where would you go? Mom's house. Maddie could stay with me, finish the school year there. It's only 20 minutes away. And after the school year? We'll see. Maybe counseling. Maybe we'll realize we're better as friends. Cole studied her face, searching for cracks in the performance. This is sudden. It's not sudden. I've been thinking about it for months. What changed today? Nothing changed. I finally got the courage to say it out loud. The lies came so easily. 23 years together, and she'd become a stranger who wore his wife's face. When would you want to do this? Soon, this weekend maybe. Give us both time to adjust. And Maddie? How does she feel about moving in with Grandma? She understands, she sees how unhappy we are. More lies. Maddie probably thought this was romantic, her mother finally escaping her boring father for someone exciting. Okay. Vivian blinked. Okay? If that's what you want, we'll try separation. Really? You're not going to fight me on this? Would fighting change your mind? No, probably not. Then there's nothing to fight about. Relief flooded her features. Thank you for being mature about this. I'll help you pack. That's sweet, but I can handle it. Maybe you could go see Eric tonight? Give me some space to get organized? She wanted him gone so Lance could help. Or maybe Lance was already waiting somewhere nearby. Sure thing. Cole grabbed his keys. I'll be back around 10. Take your time. He kissed her forehead like he had 1,000 times before. Her skin felt cold. Instead of driving to Eric's shop, Cole parked 3 blocks away and walked back through the woods behind his house. The motion sensor lights were off. Vivian had disabled them. He crouched behind the shed and waited. Lance's BMW returned at 8:30. Cole watched through his bedroom window as Lance and Vivian embraced, their silhouettes moving together with practiced intimacy. They weren't careful about closing curtains. Why would they be? Cole was supposed to be gone. He took photographs with his phone until they disappeared into the bathroom. Then he walked back to his truck and drove to Eric's garage. You look like hell, Eric said, wiping grease from his hands. What's eating you? Vivian wants a separation. About time. You two have been walking on eggshells for years. She's seeing someone else. Eric stopped working on the engine in front of him. You sure? Completely sure. That changes things. What are you going to do? Help her pack. That's it? Cole, she's cheating on you. You should be furious. I am furious. You don't look furious. You look, I don't know, calm. Cole leaned against the workbench. Remember when we were kids? That summer you broke your arm? Yeah. Fell off Mitchell's roof trying to get that softball. You remember what you said when it happened? Eric thought for a moment. That it didn't hurt. But it did hurt. Like hell. I just didn't want to cry in front of everyone. Sometimes the worst pain doesn't show. Cole straightened up. I should get home. Don't want to give her an excuse to drag this out. Cole, whatever you're planning, just be smart about it. I'm always smart about it. Cole returned home at 10:15 to find Lance's car gone and Vivian packing suitcases in their bedroom. She looked up with startled guilt when he appeared in the doorway. You're back early. Eric was busy, figured I'd turn in. He gestured at the suitcases. Need help? Almost finished. I'll grab the rest tomorrow. Maddie's voice carried from downstairs. Mom, whose stuff is in my room? Vivian froze. Cole walked to the stairway and called down. We moved your things earlier. Your mother will explain. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Maddie appeared, face flushed with confusion and anger. What the hell happened to my room? Where are all my clothes? Language, Vivian said automatically. Forget my language. Why does my room look like we got robbed? Cole stepped aside to let Vivian handle her daughter's questions. This was her show now. Sweetie, I told you we might be staying at Grandma's for a while. I had some things moved over to make the transition easier. You said maybe. You didn't say you were packing my entire life without telling me. It was a last-minute decision, Maddie turned to Cole. And you just went along with this? Your mother makes her own choices. This is insane. You can't just decide to blow up our family without discussing it first. We did discuss it, Vivian said. Your father agreed, because you ambushed him. God, Mom, this is so typical. You make these huge decisions and expect everyone else to deal with it. Cole watched his daughter defend him, probably for the first time in years. The irony would have been funny if everything wasn't collapsing. Maddie, you don't understand the situation. I understand that you're running away instead of fixing your problems like adults. Maddie's voice cracked. I have 3 weeks left of school. My friends are here. My entire life is here. It's 20 minutes away. It might as well be Mars. Cole touched Maddie's shoulder. You can visit whenever you want. This house isn't going anywhere. She jerked away from his touch. Don't patronize me. This is your fault, too! Both of you are selfish! She stormed to her stripped bedroom and slammed the door. Vivian sank onto the bed. She'll understand eventually. Will she? Once she sees how much happier I am, she'll realize this was the right choice. How much happier we are, you mean? Right, of course. Vivian zipped her suitcase. I'll come back tomorrow for the rest. No need. I'll have everything sent over. You don't have to do that. I want to be helpful. Vivian studied his face like she was seeing him clearly for the first time in years. You're being awfully understanding about this. You said it yourself. We've grown apart. Maybe distance will give us perspective. Maybe it will. She wheeled her suitcase toward the door, then paused. Cole, I hope you know this isn't about you being a bad husband. You're a good man. We want different things now. What do you want? I want to feel alive again. I want passion and excitement and, I don't know, adventure. And I can't give you that? You never tried to. After she left, Cole stood in their empty bedroom for a long time. The space felt enormous without her presence, like a theater after the final curtain call. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through the photographs he'd taken. The marriage certificate, the hotel receipts, Lance's BMW in the driveway, Vivian's silhouette in the window, 23 years of marriage, destroyed by a woman who wanted adventure. Cole deleted the photos and went to bed. The next morning brought chaos. Cole woke to pounding on the front door at 6:30. He pulled on jeans and walked downstairs to find Vivian, Maddie, and an older man he recognized as Vivian's father, Henry, standing on his porch. Open this door, Cole. Henry's voice carried the authority of a man accustomed to being obeyed. We need to talk. Cole unlocked the door. Morning, Henry, Vivian, Maddie. They pushed past him into the living room. Henry was red-faced and breathing hard, clearly worked up about something. Vivian looked embarrassed, but determined. Maddie appeared miserable. What's this about not letting them back in the house? Henry demanded. I never said they couldn't come back. Their belongings are gone. Maddie says you cleaned out her room without permission. Vivian asked for separation. I helped her pack. You helped her pack by throwing away her daughter's life? Cole remained calm. I packed everything carefully. Nothing was thrown away. That's not the point. Henry stepped closer, using his height to intimidate. You don't unilaterally decide to evict your family. I didn't evict anyone. Vivian chose to leave. Dad, please, Vivian said. Cole was actually very reasonable about everything. Reasonable? He's manipulating the situation, making you look like the bad guy. Cole turned to Vivian. Is that how you see it? No, maybe you could have waited. Let me pack my own things. You said you wanted space to get organized. I gave you space by doing it for me. You're right. That was presumptuous. Cole pulled out his phone. What would you like me to do differently? We want to come home, Maddie said. This whole separation thing is stupid. Vivian shot her daughter a warning look. Maddie, we discussed this. You discussed it. I was told what was happening, Henry pointed at Cole. This is your doing, poisoning her against her mother. I haven't said a word against Vivian. Your actions speak loud enough. Cole studied Henry's face. What exactly am I being accused of? Emotional manipulation? Making your wife look unreasonable for wanting basic space in her marriage? By packing her belongings when she asked for separation? By doing it behind her back? She was here when I offered to help. She said she could handle it herself. So you took that as permission to box up her entire life? Cole felt the familiar calm settle over him, the same feeling he got before stepping into a fight. Everything slowed down. His vision sharpened. The room became a chessboard. Henry, can I ask you something? What? Do you know why Vivian wants separation? Because you've let your marriage die. Because you've become a stranger in your own house. Did she tell you that? I can see it for myself. Look at this place. It feels like a museum. Cole nodded thoughtfully. You're probably right. I have been distant lately. Henry relaxed slightly, thinking he'd won a point. Of course, there might be other reasons. Like what? Like the fact that she married someone else 6 weeks ago in Las Vegas? The words hit the room like a grenade. Vivian went white. Cole, what are you talking about? Should I show them the certificate, or maybe the hotel receipts? That's ridiculous. Is it? Cole pulled out his phone, finger hovering over his photo gallery. I could share the pictures I took of you and Lance last night, through our bedroom window. Complete silence. Henry looked between Cole and Vivian. Vivian? What is he talking about? Nothing. He's making things up because he's angry. Am I making up Lance Mercer, your coworker who's been giving you rides to work? Vivian's composure cracked. Cole, please don't do this. Do what? Tell the truth? It's not what you think. What do I think? That we... She couldn't finish the sentence. Henry grabbed his daughter's arm. Vivian, tell me this man is lying. Dad, it's complicated. It's not complicated at all. Cole's voice remained perfectly calm. Your daughter is a bigamist. She married Lance Mercer while still married to me. That's a felony in most states. You're insane, Maddie said. Mom would never do that. Cole turned to his daughter. Would you like to see the marriage certificate? There is no marriage certificate. There is. Signed by Vivian Elizabeth Patterson and Lance David Mercer on April 14th at the Little Chapel of Love in Las Vegas, Nevada. Witnessed by 2 casino employees, whose names I can provide if needed. The room felt like a pressure cooker about to explode. Vivian, Henry said slowly, please tell me this isn't true. Vivian sat down heavily on the couch. It was supposed to be a joke. A joke? We were drunk. Lance dared me to do it. We thought it would be funny. You thought committing bigamy would be funny? It's not real. It doesn't mean anything. Cole laughed, a sound without humor. You spent the night with your joke husband in a hotel room I paid for with our credit card. How do you... I've seen the receipts, Vivian. All of them. Henry sank into a chair. Jesus Christ, Vivian. What have you done? Nothing that can't be fixed. We'll get it annulled. You should have gotten it annulled 6 weeks ago. I know. I was going to, but you were having too much fun playing house with Lance. Maddie stared at her mother. Is this why you wanted us to move out, so you could bring him here? Maddie, no, this has nothing to do with... He was here last night, wasn't he? While Dad was gone? Vivian's silence was answer enough. Maddie turned to Cole. How long have you known? Since yesterday morning. And you didn't say anything? Your mother wanted space. I gave her space. To hang herself, Henry muttered. That wasn't my intention. What was your intention? Cole looked at each of them in turn, to let her make her own choices. By setting a trap, by giving her exactly what she asked for. Henry stood up, his face purple with rage. You manipulative bastard. You knew what she was doing, and you let her dig herself deeper. Should I have stopped her? You should have confronted her like a man. The way you're confronting me now? Don't get smart with me, boy. Boy. Cole smiled at that. I'm 42 years old, Henry. I stopped being anyone's boy a long time ago. You're acting like a child. Playing games instead of dealing with your problems. What problems should I be dealing with? Your failing marriage. My marriage failed when my wife married someone else. Henry stepped closer. You want to know what I think? Not particularly. I think you drove her to this. I think you were such a lousy husband that she had to find affection somewhere else. Cole felt something shift inside him, like a lock clicking open. Is that what you think? It's what I know. Based on what evidence? Based on 20 years of watching my daughter slowly disappear into this house. She disappeared because she chose to disappear. She chose to survive a marriage to a man who treats her like furniture. The room was getting smaller. Cole could feel violence in the air like electricity before a storm. "Henry," he said quietly, "I'm going to give you one chance to leave my house before this conversation goes somewhere you don't want it to go. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. I'm not afraid of you, boy." Cole stepped forward, not aggressively, just enough to close the distance between them. "You should be." Something in his voice made Henry step back. "Cole," Vivian said, "please don't make this worse." "How could it be worse?" "Your father just accused me of driving you into another man's arms. Your daughter thinks I'm manipulating the situation. You're sitting there acting like bigamy is a practical joke." Cole's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath. "I'm the only person in this room who hasn't lied to anyone. You're the one who set this up." "I didn't set anything up. I responded to what you set up. By packing our things without telling us. You said you wanted separation. I facilitated separation by making me look like I was abandoning my family. Weren't you?" The question hung in the air. Henry stepped forward again. "That's enough. You don't talk to my daughter that way." "What way?" "Like she's the villain here." "Who's the villain, Henry?" "You are. You manipulated this whole situation to make yourself look like the victim." Cole laughed again, that same humorless sound. "I am the victim. You're the one playing games." "What games?" "Acting like you're innocent, like you had no choice." "What choice did I have?" "You could have fought for your marriage." "By doing what?" "By being a better husband." The words hit like a physical blow. Cole felt something cold and dangerous rise in his chest. "Henry," he said softly, "you need to leave now. I'm not going anywhere until we resolve this. There's nothing to resolve. Your daughter committed bigamy. She's been having an affair. She wanted out of our marriage. I'm giving her what she wants. You're destroying her reputation. She destroyed her own reputation by making one mistake." "One mistake?" Cole's voice rose for the first time. "She's been planning this for months." "The Vegas wedding wasn't spontaneous. She had to get a license. She had to bring documents. She had to lie to me about where she was going. People make mistakes when they're unhappy. And now she gets to live with the consequences." Henry's face darkened. "What consequences?" "Ask her." All eyes turned to Vivian, who looked like she wanted to disappear into the couch. "What consequences, Vivian?" Henry demanded. "Nothing. He's just trying to scare us." Cole pulled out his phone again. "Should I call the police, report the bigamy, or maybe the district attorney's office?" "You wouldn't." "Why wouldn't I?" "Because you're not cruel." "I'm not cruel to people who don't betray me." "Cole, please, think about Maddie." "I've thought about Maddie. That's why I haven't called the police yet." "Yet?" "Your move, Vivian." She looked around the room desperately. "What do you want?" "I want you out of my house." "We are out of your house. All of you. Permanently. You can't kick us out. I have rights." "You had rights. You gave them up when you married Lance." "That's not how it works." "Isn't it? Check with a lawyer." Henry pointed a shaking finger at Cole. "You can't do this to my daughter." "I'm not doing anything to your daughter. Your daughter did this to herself." "She made one mistake." "She made 100 mistakes. Every day for 6 weeks, she chose to lie to me. Every time she brought Lance to this house, she chose betrayal. Every time she kissed me goodbye while wearing another man's ring, she chose deception. She wasn't wearing another man's ring." Cole looked at Vivian's left hand. No wedding ring. "When had she taken it off?" "Where's your wedding ring, Vivian?" She instinctively covered her left hand. "I took it off this morning." "Why?" "Because it felt hypocritical to wear it." "But not hypocritical to keep lying?" "I wasn't lying. I was trying to figure out how to tell you." "For 6 weeks?" "I was scared." "Of what?" "Of this, of you hating me." Cole stared at her. "I don't hate you, Vivian." Relief flooded her face. "You don't? I hate what you've done. I hate that you turned our marriage into a lie. I hate that you involved our daughter in your deception, but I don't hate you." "Then we can work this out." "No, we can't." "Why not?" "Because I don't trust you anymore." "Because every word out of your mouth could be another lie, because you're married to someone else." "I'll fix that. I'll get the marriage annulled today." "And then what?" "Then we go to counseling. We work on our problems." What problems do we have, Vivian? Communication, intimacy, connection? According to you, I'm boring. I don't give you adventure or passion or excitement. I was wrong to say that. Were you wrong, or are you just saying that because you got caught? She couldn't answer. Henry stepped between them. This interrogation stops now. This isn't an interrogation, it's a conversation. It's emotional offense. Cole turned to Henry with dead eyes. You want to see emotional offense? Something in his voice made everyone in the room go still. Cole, Vivian whispered. Please don't. Don't what? Don't become someone I don't recognize. You already don't recognize me. You haven't recognized me for years. That's not true. Isn't it? When's the last time you asked me about my day? When's the last time you showed interest in anything I cared about? When's the last time you touched me without me initiating it? That's not fair. None of this is fair. Cole's voice was getting quieter, which somehow made it more menacing. Fair would have been you asking for a divorce before you started sleeping with Lance. Fair would have been honesty about your feelings instead of years of passive-aggressive resentment. Fair would have been treating me like a human being instead of an obstacle to your happiness. I never treated you like an obstacle. You treated me like furniture, something functional but uninteresting. Something that belonged in the house but didn't need attention unless it broke. The accuracy of his words hit like a physical blow. And now, Cole continued, you're all standing in my living room acting like I'm the problem. Like I'm the one who destroyed this family. You're not innocent in this, Henry said. Cole turned to him slowly, his voice calm but razor-edged. What exactly am I guilty of? Henry didn't hesitate. Neglecting your wife. Cole blinked, unamused. How? By not being the husband she needed, Henry said firmly. What kind of husband did she need? Someone who paid attention to her. I paid attention, Cole snapped. I was there, I showed up. No, Henry said, crossing his arms. You went through the motions. That familiar cold fury stirred in Cole's chest. He stepped forward, closing a bit of distance between them. You have no idea what kind of husband I was. I have eyes. You have opinions, Cole corrected. Biased ones. Henry's voice sharpened. I watched my daughter lose herself in this marriage. No, Cole said, jaw tightening. Your daughter lost herself in lies. Color flushed across Henry's face. Don't you dare blame her for your failures. What failures? Cole asked, taking another step. Go ahead, spell them out. Henry pointed a shaking finger. You know what you did. Actually, Cole said, voice dropping lower. I don't. Enlighten me. You took her for granted, Cole scoffed. How? By assuming she'd always be there no matter how little effort you put in. That pushed Cole to the edge. You want to know how much effort I put in? I can see for myself, Henry said. No, you can't, Cole said, eyes hard. Because I see a man who raised a daughter to believe marriage is something that happens to her, not something she participates in. That's enough, Henry growled. Is it? Cole wasn't backing down. Because your daughter learned somewhere that lying is easier than honesty, that when a problem shows up, you run. That betrayal is something you excuse if it's wrapped in tears and regret. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, Cole said. Because I've been living with the fallout for 23 years. Henry's hand shot up, not quite a punch, but full of fury and intent. Cole caught his wrist midair. His grip was steady, not rough, not violent, just solid, enough to stop him cold. Henry, he said quietly, you need to think very carefully about what you do next. Let go of me, Henry hissed, teeth clenched. Are you going to hit me? Let go. Because if you hit me, I'm going to defend myself. You're threatening an old man now? I'm warning a man who's about to make a mistake. Cole slowly released his grip. Henry stepped back, rubbing his wrist, his pride more bruised than his skin. From the hallway, Maddie's voice cut through the tension like a blade. You're all insane, she said flatly. They all turned. Every one of you. This! She gestured around the room, eyes sharp with frustration. This is exactly why I can't wait to leave for college. She turned and marched toward the door. Maddie, wait, Vivian called out, voice laced with panic. For what? Maddie spun around. For you to explain how cheating on Dad was actually his fault? For Grandpa to beat up the only parent who's been honest with me? For Dad to turn into someone scary? No one answered. No one could. She slammed the door behind her. The silence that followed was loud and immediate. Henry broke it first. Look what you've done! Cole's mouth twisted. What I've done? You've turned her against her mother. I've told her the truth. She's a child. Children don't need to know everything. Children deserve to know when their family is falling apart, Cole said. They're the ones who suffer the most when we pretend otherwise. She's 17. She's old enough to understand betrayal. Vivian sank onto the couch like someone deflating, burying her face in her hands. This is a nightmare. It doesn't have to be, Cole said, his voice quieter now. Vivian looked up, eyes rimmed red. What do you mean? Get the marriage annulled. Move out permanently. Let me file for divorce on grounds of adultery. Split everything 50-50. Move on. She shook her head slowly. And if I don't, then I call the police and report the bigamy. I file for divorce anyway, but now you're looking at criminal charges. I make sure Lance's employer knows he's having a relationship with a married coworker. I make sure your employer knows you've been using business trips for your personal affairs. Vivian's voice came out small. You're blackmailing me. I'm giving you a choice. Henry stepped forward again. Between what and what? Between handling this quietly, Cole said, meeting his eyes, or handling it publicly. You can't threaten my daughter like that, Henry said, his voice shaking. I'm not threatening her, Cole replied. I'm explaining her options. Those aren't options, Henry growled. That's coercion. Cole turned to Henry with infinite patience. Henry, your daughter committed a crime. She's been lying to me for months. She's destroyed our marriage and involved our daughter in her deception. I could have called the police yesterday. I could have had her arrested this morning. Instead, I'm offering her a way to end this with some dignity intact. By giving up everything. By giving up nothing she hasn't already given up. She has rights. She forfeited her rights when she married someone else. That's not how the law works, isn't it? Want to find out? Henry looked at Vivian, who was staring at her hands. Vivian, he said, say something. What is there to say? Her voice was barely above a whisper. He's right. He's not right. He's being vindictive. Am I? Cole asked. What would be vindictive? This. All of this. Vindictive would be having you arrested yesterday. Vindictive would be posting the marriage certificate on social media. Vindictive would be calling Lance's wife. Lance doesn't have a wife. He has a fiancée, Sarah Morrison. They've been planning a wedding for next fall. Vivian's head snapped up. That's not true. Check his Facebook page. He said he was single. He lied. Just like you lied. Just like everyone in this situation has been lying except me. Vivian pulled out her phone with shaking hands. Cole watched her face as she navigated to Lance's social media profile. He saw the exact moment she found the engagement photos. Oh, God. What? Henry demanded. There are pictures of him with someone else. From last month. Oh, what kind of pictures? Engagement pictures. Henry sat down hard. Jesus, Vivian. What have you gotten yourself into? Cole felt no satisfaction in being right. Just that dull, heavy sadness that settles in when every thread in your life has come unraveled and there's nothing left but the mess. So Lance played you the same way you played me, he said, voice low. Vivian flinched. This is different. How? I didn't know about her. But you knew about me. Silence, long and uncomfortable. It stretched between them until even the sound of the refrigerator humming felt loud. I need to talk to him, Vivian said finally, voice thin. No, you need to talk to a lawyer, Cole replied. You need to get that marriage annulled immediately before Sarah Morrison finds out her fiancé is a bigamist too. Vivian's eyes widened. What am I going to tell her? That's not my problem. Henry rose slowly from the armchair, like something inside him had gone rigid. We should go. Dad, I don't know what to do. We'll figure it out, Henry said, placing a hand on her back. But not here. Cole watched them gather their things, Vivian fumbling with her purse, dropping her keys, her movements disjointed, like she wasn't sure if her limbs belonged to her anymore. As she reached the front door, he said her name. She turned, eyes glassy. Yeah? I meant what I said, about not hating you. Her breath caught. I know. But I can't forgive this. I know that too. And I won't let you blame me for it. I won't. Your father will. She glanced at Henry, who stood at the door like a statue, barely suppressing the fury behind his clenched jaw. Dad doesn't understand. Make him understand, Cole said evenly, because if he comes back here looking for a fight, he's going to find one. Henry opened his mouth, but Vivian caught his arm and shook her head. Dad, please, let's just go. They left without another word. When the door shut, the silence in the house wasn't peaceful. It was complete. Absolute. And for the first time in 24 hours, Cole was alone in a space that actually felt like his. He made coffee, black, no sugar, sat at the kitchen table staring out the window, divorce proceedings, custody arrangements, dividing assets, explaining to friends and family why his marriage had imploded in front of a Vegas altar. His phone rang. Eric, Cole answered. Yeah? How'd it go? Eric asked. About as well as you'd expect. That bad? Worse, turns out the guy she married is engaged to someone else. There was a long pause. Jesus, she really knows how to pick them. Apparently. You okay? I think so. You think so? I'm still processing. You want me to come over? Not yet. I need some time to think. About what? About who I want to be when this is over. Eric was quiet for a moment, then, you want some advice? Sure. Don't become someone you'll regret being. What do you mean? I mean you're angry, probably angrier than you've ever been in your life. And anger makes people do stupid things. I'm not going to do anything stupid. Famous last words. Eric, I'm fine. Are you? Because that thing you said about Henry finding a fight if he came back? That didn't sound fine. Cole stared out the window at the street he'd lived on for 15 years. Henry accused me of driving Vivian into another man's arms. So? So he's wrong. Maybe, but getting into a fight with your father-in-law won't prove that. I'm not looking for a fight. You're not avoiding one either. Cole considered that. Eric, as usual, had a point. What would you do? In your situation? Eric let out a dry laugh. I'd probably burn the whole thing down and regret it for the rest of my life. Helpful. That's why I'm telling you not to be like me. So what should I do? Handle your business, file for divorce, split the assets, move on with your life. And if they keep pushing, then you push back legally, not physically. What if legal doesn't work? Then you make it work. You're smarter than all of them combined, Cole. Use that instead of your fists. They hung up soon after. Cole spent the rest of the day researching divorce attorneys. By dinner, he'd booked 3 consultations. But peace didn't last long. The next morning, the doorbell rang just after 7. Repeated, aggressive, insistent. He looked out the window. Lance's BMW sat in the driveway. Cole opened the door to find Lance on the porch in a tailored suit, tension written in every line of his body. We need to talk, Lance said. Cole stepped out and closed the door behind him. About what? The lies you've been telling about me. What lies? About me being engaged. You're not engaged to Sarah Morrison? Lance's bravado flickered. That's complicated. How is it complicated? Sarah and I have an understanding. What kind of understanding? We're taking a break while we figure some things out. Cole folded his arms. Does she know you married someone else during your break? She doesn't need to know about Vegas. So you're planning to get the marriage annulled before she finds out. Because Vegas was a mistake. Was sleeping with my wife a mistake too? Lance stepped forward, chest puffed. Your wife came to me, buddy. I didn't chase her. And that's supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you understand this isn't about you. Cole's voice dropped. My wife marrying someone else isn't about me? She was unhappy. I gave her something you couldn't. What exactly did you give her? Attention, excitement, someone who wanted her. Cole's tone stayed calm. Someone who lied about being single. I never said I was single. You never said you were engaged either. My relationship with Sarah is none of your business. It became my business when you married my wife. That was Vivian's idea. She said it'd be romantic. Cole laughed, a dry, bitter sound that didn't reach his eyes. And you thought that was smart? Lance didn't flinch. I thought it was harmless. Bigamy is harmless? Cole's voice cut through the air like a knife. It's not real bigamy if we annul it, Lance replied, his tone defensive but uncertain, like he was trying to convince himself more than Cole. Cole stepped forward, his expression hardening. That's not how the law works. Lance shifted his weight and took a step closer, posture stiff. Look, I don't want any trouble. Then why are you here? Because Vivian's upset, Lance said, gesturing vaguely as if that excused everything. She thinks you're going to make things worse. Cole folded his arms. What kind of things? Legal problems. A humorless smile tugged at Cole's mouth. Shouldn't you have legal problems? No one needs to get lawyers involved. I think everyone needs lawyers involved. Lance's jaw tensed, fists curling at his sides. That would be a mistake. Cole raised an eyebrow. Is that a threat? Friendly advice? He glanced at Lance's fists, then back at his face. You want to hit me. I want you to be reasonable. What's reasonable? Cole asked, voice calm, measured, letting Vivian get the annulment. Divorcing her quietly. Cole nodded slowly. And what do I get? Avoiding public humiliation. That made Cole laugh again, colder this time. How would I be humiliated? Lance's chin lifted slightly. When people find out your wife left you for a better man. The smile faded from Cole's face. He studied Lance, then said quietly, That what you think happened? It's what did happen. You think you're better than me? I know I am. Because she chose you? Exactly. Cole's voice dropped to a low, dangerous tone. She chose lies. That doesn't make you better. It makes you a liar. You don't know anything about me, Lance snapped. I know enough. You're engaged, married to someone else, and showing up at my house like I owe you something. Lance shook his head. You're jealous. Of what? My life? My car? Vivian? Cole stepped forward again, shrinking the space between them. Let me explain something. I'm listening, Lance muttered. I'm not jealous. I pity you. Lance's eyebrows drew together. You pity me? You think bigamy is romantic. You think manipulation is love. You think I should be quiet so you can keep pretending you're a good man. I didn't steal her, Lance shot back. Didn't you? She made her choice, based on lies. I never lied. You lied by omission. That's not the same, Lance said, voice rising. Cole shrugged. To someone like you, maybe not. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, Cole interrupted. You think this is complicated. It's not. You're engaged to one woman and married to another. That's a crime. No one's prosecuting a Vegas mistake. Cole's eyes narrowed. You want to bet? You wouldn't, Lance said, stepping back slightly. I would. Lance faltered. You love her. I loved her, Cole corrected. Past tense. You can't just stop loving someone. Cole stared at him for a long moment. Watch me. Lance shifted uncomfortably. What do you want? For you to leave. Besides that, Cole didn't hesitate. Annul the marriage. Tell Sarah the truth. Stay away. I can't tell Sarah, Lance said, his voice barely above a whisper. You have to. She'll leave me. She should. You're trying to destroy me, he said, panic creeping into his tone. You already destroyed yourself. Lance looked down, shoulders sagging. What happens to Vivian? That's her problem. She loves you. Cole raised an eyebrow. She told you that while married to you? It's complicated. No, Cole said, firm. It's simple. She lied. You lied. And now you both get to live with it. Lance glanced toward the street. What about Maddie? She decides for herself. This is a nightmare, Cole nodded. Yes, it is. But we can fix it, Lance insisted. No, you can't. Why not? Because I don't trust either of you anymore. Lance swallowed hard. What if I do what you said? All of it? He nodded. All of it. Today. Cole didn't move. Why should I believe you? Because I don't have a choice. Cole's voice softened, but the edge in it remained. You always have a choice. Lance looked down at the porch beneath his feet, shame settling across his features like dust on forgotten furniture. Not anymore, he said. Lance walked back to his BMW without another word. Cole watched him drive away, then went inside and called his lawyer. The next few weeks passed in a blur of legal meetings and paperwork. Vivian got the marriage annulled without incident. Lance broke up with Sarah Morrison and left town, apparently taking a job in another state. Henry stopped speaking to Cole entirely, which Cole considered a blessing. Maddie was the hardest part. She came home one evening in late May, walking through the front door like she'd never left. I'm back, she announced, dropping her duffel bag onto the floor. Cole looked up from his dinner, startled. For how long? Forever, if that's okay, he set his fork down. What about your mother? What about her? She's your mother. She's also a liar who destroyed our family for a guy who dumped her the minute things got complicated. Cole shifted in his chair, discomfort flashing across his face. Maddie, you shouldn't talk about your mother that way. Why not? It's true. She's still your mother. So? So she loves you. Maddie let out a quiet, humorless laugh. She loves herself more. He studied her carefully. She looked older than 17, like the last month had aged her years. Her posture, the cool distance in her voice, it all told him she'd seen too much, too soon. You can't stay angry forever, he said gently. Watch me. Anger will eat you alive. She tilted her head. It hasn't eaten you alive. How do you know? Because you're handling this better than I would. I'm not handling anything, he said quietly. I'm just moving forward. By getting revenge? By getting justice? What's the difference? Cole looked down at his plate, untouched now, and thought for a moment before answering. Revenge is about making people suffer. Justice is about making people accountable. And Mom is being held accountable? Your mother is living with the consequences of her choices. Maddie crossed her arms and leaned against the counter. Good. He looked up at her. Maddie, that's not good. That's sad. Why is it sad? Because she's your mother. Because our family is broken. Because none of this had to happen. She hesitated, then pulled out the chair across from him and sat. Her voice was quieter now. Do you still love her? Cole's answer took a few seconds. Part of me will always love the woman I married. But that woman doesn't exist anymore. Maddie's brow furrowed. When did she stop existing? I don't know, he said, voice low. Maybe years ago. Maybe I just didn't want to see it. So this is your fault too? She asked carefully. Some of it. How? I should have paid better attention. I should have seen the signs. What signs? He exhaled. The distance. The resentment. The way she looked at me like I was disappointing her just by existing. That's not your fault, she said quickly, defensive now. Isn't it? No. If she was unhappy, she should have talked to you about it. Not lied and cheated and destroyed everything. Cole reached across the table and gently took her hand. I need you to promise me something. What? That you won't let this make you cynical about love. I'm already cynical about love. Don't be. What happened between your mother and me doesn't mean love doesn't exist. Doesn't it? She challenged. No, he said softly. It means some people don't know how to love properly. Like Mom? Like both of us. We stopped working at it. We took each other for granted. She took you for granted, Maddie said. You just went along with it. Maybe. Maddie squeezed his hand. I'm proud of you. He raised his eyebrows. For what? For not becoming a victim. For standing up for yourself. Cole smiled, though it was faint. I don't feel like I stood up for myself. You did. You could have begged her to stay. You could have pretended the marriage in Vegas didn't matter. You could have blamed yourself for everything. He looked down, his thumb rubbing against her knuckles. Maybe I should have. No, she said firmly. You did the right thing. Did I? Yes. You treated her like an adult who could make her own choices, and when she made bad choices, you let her live with the consequences. He leaned back in his chair, the weight of it all pressing against his chest. And now our family is destroyed. Maddie didn't flinch. Our family was already destroyed. You just stopped pretending it wasn't. He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw not a teenager, but a young woman who understood things he was still learning to accept. When did you get so wise? He asked. When I realized my parents were just people making mistakes, like everyone else. That night, after she went upstairs and the house settled into silence, Cole lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The divorce would be finalized in a few months. Maddie would leave for college in the fall. He'd be alone in this house that held too many memories and just enough ghosts to keep him awake. For the first time since finding that marriage certificate, he felt something like peace. His phone buzzed. A text from Vivian. Can we talk? He stared at the message for a long time, thumb hovering above the screen. No. There was only a second's pause before she replied. Please, I need to apologize. He leaned back in his chair, sighing. You already apologized. Not properly. There's no such thing as a proper apology for what you did. I know I can't fix this. I just want you to know that I'm sorry. I know you're sorry. Do you? Because I feel like you think I'm just sorry I got caught. Cole considered that. He didn't type for a while. Then finally, aren't you? Her answer came slower this time. No. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I destroyed our family. His fingers tightened around the phone. But you're not sorry you fell in love with Lance. A long pause. He almost thought she wasn't going to answer. No, I'm not sorry about that. Then you're not really sorry. That's not fair. It's honest. I can't help who I fell in love with. You could help what you did about it. I know. Do you? Yes. I should have asked for a divorce before I did anything with Lance. You should have talked to me before you decided our marriage was over. Her next question came hesitantly. Would it have made a difference? He looked out the window, watched the leaves shift in the breeze. I don't know, but we'll never find out now. I miss you. He rolled his eyes. You miss the security I provided. You don't miss me. That's not true, isn't it? When's the last time you actually missed spending time with me? When's the last time you looked forward to me coming home? Silence. No bubbles on the screen. No reply. He knew the answer. That's what I thought. Eventually, she texted again. Cole, I want to try again. Try what? Our marriage. His reply came fast. We don't have a marriage. You ended it when you married someone else. I ended that marriage. Too late. It's never too late. Yes, it is. I love you. Cole stared at those 3 words on his phone screen. 3 words that used to mean everything. He typed, No, you don't. Yes, I do. You love the idea of not being alone. You love having someone to take care of you. You love feeling secure, but you don't love me. How can you say that? Because if you loved me, you never would have done what you did? People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. Hundreds of choices over months of deception. I was confused. No, you were selfish. Maybe, but I still love you. Then you have a funny way of showing it. I'm showing it now, by fighting for us. He scoffed softly. You're not fighting for us. You're fighting for comfort. Lance is gone. Your father thinks you're a disgrace. Your friends are asking uncomfortable questions. You want to come back to the safe choice. That's not why. Isn't it? No, I want to come back because I realized what I lost. What did you lose? My best friend, my partner, the only man who ever truly knew me. He shook his head, jaw clenched. I never knew you. If I had known you, I would have seen this coming. You couldn't have seen it coming because I didn't see it coming. You planned a trip to Vegas. You brought documentation to get married. You lied to me about where you were going. You saw it coming. I didn't plan to fall in love with him, but you planned to marry him. That was impulse. Impulse doesn't explain 6 weeks of lying. Vivian stopped responding. Cole waited 10 minutes, staring at the blinking cursor where another reply might appear. Nothing came. He powered off his phone. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday in August. Cole signed the papers in his lawyer's office downtown. Vivian signed hers across the city. They didn't speak, didn't see each other. It was sterile, efficient, like dissolving a business agreement. The following week, Maddie left for college. Cole helped her load her car with everything she'd need for freshman year: a mini fridge, 2 bulging suitcases, a crate of books she'd probably never open, and a pillow that still smelled faintly of home. As they slammed the trunk closed, she turned to him, brushing a stray curl out of her face. You sure you'll be okay? She asked. He smiled, trying to make it reach his eyes. I'll be fine. You'll call if you need anything? What would I need? She gave him a look. I don't know. Company. Someone to talk to. I have Eric. Eric doesn't count. He just agrees with everything you say. Cole laughed. That's not true. It's totally true. You could tell Eric you were thinking about becoming a professional wrestler, and he'd ask where to buy tickets. He shrugged. Professional wrestling might be safer than marriage. She raised an eyebrow. Don't become cynical, Dad. Remember what you told me about not letting this make me stop believing in love? I remember. She nudged his shoulder. Same goes for you. He didn't reply, just pulled her into a hug and held on a little too long. She hugged him tightly, and for a moment she was his little girl again, instead of a young woman heading off to start her own life. I love you, Dad. I love you too. Take care of yourself. You too. Cole watched her drive away, then went back inside his empty house. That evening, he sat on his back porch with a beer, watching the sun set over the neighborhood where he'd lived for 15 years. Tomorrow, he'd start looking for a smaller place, something without so many memories. His phone rang. Eric's name on the screen. How you holding up? Good, quiet. Want company? Not tonight. You sure? Yeah. I need some time to think. About what? About what comes next. And what's that? I don't know yet. Well, when you figure it out, let me know. I'll help however I can. Thanks, Eric. That's what friends are for. Cole hung up and finished his beer as the last light faded from the sky. For the first time in months, the silence felt peaceful instead of empty. 6 months later, Cole sold the house and moved to a small apartment across town. He started taking evening classes at the community college, something he'd always wanted to do but never found time for. He began training at the MMA gym again, not for revenge or anger, but because he'd forgotten how much he enjoyed the discipline. On a February evening, Cole ran into Vivian at the grocery store. She looked changed, smaller, older, unfamiliar. Their brief conversation was polite, but heavy with unspoken history. They talked about his new apartment, their daughter Maddie, and whether Maddie or Cole might ever forgive her. Cole said he already had, though he hadn't forgotten. Vivian admitted she missed him. Cole replied he missed the woman he once thought she was. Vivian hoped for a second chance, but Cole made it clear too much had changed. They said goodbye, two strangers with a shared past now moving in separate directions. Cole drove home to his quiet apartment, made dinner, and read until bedtime. It was a simple evening, unremarkable in every way, and for the first time in years, that felt like enough. Spring came early that year. Cole spent his weekends hiking trails he'd never explored, visiting museums he'd never had time for, reading books that had been sitting on his shelf for years. He wasn't looking for love or adventure or excitement. He was looking for himself. The man he'd been before marriage and responsibility and compromise had shaped him into someone else. On a Saturday morning in April, he was having coffee at a small cafe when he saw Henry across the street. Vivian's father looked older, grayer, carrying himself like a man who'd been disappointed by life. Their eyes met through the window. Henry stared for a moment, then looked away and kept walking. Cole felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no regret, just the mild acknowledgement of seeing someone he used to know. That afternoon, he got a text from Maddie, thinking about calling Mom. "What do you think? I think you should do whatever feels right to you. Are you okay with that? Your relationship with your mother is separate from my relationship with her. Or lack of relationship. Right. I love you, Dad. I love you, too." An hour later, she texted again. Called Mom. We talked for 2 hours. It was good. I'm glad. She's in therapy. Good for her. She asked about you. What did you tell her? That you're doing well, that you seem happy. Am I happy? Are you? Cole thought about it. Happy felt like too simple a word for what he was experiencing. Content, maybe, peaceful, free. Yeah, he typed back. I think I am. That evening, Cole sat in his apartment reading a book about philosophy. Outside, the world went about its business. Couples walking hand in hand, families heading to dinner, teenagers learning how to drive. Life continued. People made choices and lived with consequences and found ways to move forward. Some relationships survived betrayal, and some didn't. Some people learned from their mistakes, and some repeated them. Cole had learned something important over the past year, that revenge wasn't about making other people suffer. It was about refusing to let their choices define your future. He'd given Vivian exactly what she'd asked for. Space to find out who she was without him. He'd given Lance exactly what he deserved. The consequences of his actions. He'd given Henry exactly what he'd demanded. Distance from a son-in-law he'd never respected. And in doing so, he'd given himself something he hadn't expected. Freedom. The freedom to discover who he was when he wasn't trying to be who someone else needed him to be. The freedom to make choices based on his own values instead of someone else's expectations. The freedom to build a life that belonged entirely to him. At 53, Cole Hartley was starting over. Not because he had to, but because he could. And that, he realized, was the best revenge of all.